Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
She's Justine.
And that's Danielle.
And this is
That's What They Called News.
Episode 2.
We're from the very beginning here. And I think we're going to continue to improve. You should probably apologize about how bad the first episode was. But
we're beginners. If you suffered through, we love you very much.
Only up from here. Is it only up or only down? Only up. Right?
Yeah. Up.
Well, but that seems harder. If you go uphill.
But if the first episode was like rock bottom.
Well, that's true. Only up from here.
Only up.
That's fair. That's the way the saying is used. You're
yes.
right. All right. Anything been going on with you?
No. Very boring, basic. I go to work and I come home and wait to do this with you.
Yay. We should do this more often, I feel.
We should.
Yeah. We got the kids out of school and all of that jazz.
Last day of school today.
Yep. Good stuff. All right. So we're going to go a little darker with today's episode.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about a child who was tortured by their step-aunt.
Holy crap.
Really light topic.
Yeah.
But also front page news.
Okay.
In 1896.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this article is from The Journal and it doesn't have a city.
Well, that's silly.
I'm going to have to put that in the show notes. So it's The Journal, and it's Thursday, March 19th, 1896. Teachers found little Harry Fisher's body, a mass of bruises. He told them his tormentor beat him with a club and a rawhide. Said that on one occasion, she stuffed a whip handle down his throat.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I don't have words for that one.
No. That sounds like we're edging on kinky.
With your step nephew. That's weird. Fully cut and scarred. All right, here we go. This is 1896 news reporting at its finest.
Let's hear it.
His mother, too poor to support the little fellow, had left him temporarily in uncle's care. During the music lesson in one of the classes at primary school number 87 in Brooklyn, it's in Brooklyn, on Tuesday afternoon, the recitation came to a sudden stop when the silence fell upon the room. Professor Goat, Goate, looked up, I assume it's still Goat, looked up and found that the gaze of all his class had centered upon one boy who sat at his desk with his head upon his arms. Ere he could ask a single question, he heard a sound which made him spring to his feet and stride down the aisle to where the boy was sitting. The little fellow was sobbing in agony and his frame trembling as if some powerful fear had seized him. I know, poor boy. As the teacher looked down at the bowed figure of the child, he felt a sudden shock of horror, which in a twinkling gave way to a feeling of intense indignation. The boy had been beaten and bruised so cruelly and so heartlessly that he could neither move his arm nor bend his neck, and every part of his body that was visible was mottled with bruises.
Holy crap.
Yeah. Right?
What could that child have done?
I don't know. Poor little Harry. And but just the way they're like, first of all, if this was in modern times, none of this detail would be involved.
No, it would be like there was a kid at the school
abused by its teacher.
Now he's in custody.
Right. And there would be no mention of a name. There would be no mention of where the school was. Usually sometimes. Not. Yeah, it's just crazy to me that this is what we see. Here we go. Here's some direct quotes for you.
Okay.
"What is the matter?" asked the teacher, laying his hand upon the boy's head. With tears streaming down his face, the little fellow answered, "My aunt whipped me and I'm awful sick." I'm just assuming he was whimpering like that. I don't know. I wasn't
creative liberties.
Yes, because that wasn't a direct quote.
Yeah.
"The boy's name is Harry Fisher, and he is 8 years old. The name of his aunt is Mrs. Lena Kloppenberg. 8 years old, and she stuck a whip handle down his throat.
Yeesh.
Like, what? No, thank you.
I wonder if they get her side of things.
Not in this article, they don't.
Oh,
Well, they kind of do.
okay.
But then they, like, make you assume she's lying.
Well, yeah.
The boys, we read that one. Professor Goat immediately took the boy in his arms and carried him out into the office of the principal, Miss Kelly. There, they asked him to take off his jacket. Again, red flags.
Mm-hmm.
So they could see his skin. What they saw made them turn pale, again, with indignation. You poor, poor boy, said Miss Kelly. It's awful. The boy's shoulders were one solid mass of bruises, and one of his knees was swollen to twice its natural size. There were marks everywhere, on back, breast, and arms. Some were red and raw, as if they had only recently inflicted. Others were but scars of old bruises. It was difficult at first to obtain from him any information except that his aunt had beaten him. He was afraid of her and feared she would punish him frightfully if he told anyone what she had done to him. It was only when the teachers assured him that he would never again have to return to his aunt that he could be induced to speak, and only then after he had made them repeat their promises several times.
Some pretty bold promises from a teacher and a principal.
Right? But, I mean, they were looking out for this little boy.
Yeah.
It only took him crying in class to get them to notice. The story that he told revealed the misery of a childish life, whose sufferings were almost beyond belief. His mother was living, he said, but is very poor, and had allowed his uncle to take him and bring him up. His uncle was a kindly man, but weak. And when... Sorry. Why? Let's just call everybody out. And when he married a woman whom he had employed for several years as a servant, his nephew's unhappiness began. After hearing the boy's story, Miss Kelly and one of the teachers went to the boys' home at number 89 Rockaway Avenue. Again, we're telling them where little children live. And, the anger of the aunt when she learned that the boy had displayed his bruises to her visitors was so great that they were at once convinced of the truth of all that the boy had said. So she's like, I did no such thing. And they're like, no, we totally believe him. We're on Harry's side.
Yes.
Just give up. Miss Kelly then notified the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children, who sent an officer to her house to take the boy. At the rooms of the society, the boy repeated his story, and the first thing they did yesterday morning was to arrest Mrs. Kloppenberg.
Good.
It would have taken longer, I think, in today's society.
Oh, absolutely. Because there would have to be an investigation, and the kid would have to go to counseling to figure out if he was really telling the truth.
Right.
And she would keep beating him.
Yes. And he would have definitely had to go back to his aunt's house.
Yes.
Yeah. The boy said it was his shoulders that hurt him, and his neck and elbow. He said his throat hurt him too, especially where the whip went. That was a quote. The child could not hold his head up straight because it hurt his shoulder and neck to do so. All right. I have to be the little boy now. I hope I can do it justice.
Okay.
My aunt, said the boy, was pretty good to me most of the time, but every little while she got mad. She has a terrible temper. When I've done nothing to make her mad, she buys me clothes and nice things, but Uncle always pays for them. Every little while, though, she gets mad at me, and she never tells me what it's for. Then she'll pick up a poker and hit me with it. Sometimes she hits me with a big stick that she stirs up the clothes with in the wash tub. Oh, no, not a broomstick. It's thicker than a broomstick. Uncle brought home a rawhide whip one day to use on the dog, but Aunt got a hold of it and kept it in the closet for me. I was the only one who ever got hit with the whip. They never touched the dog with it. Yeah, that poor guy.
That's
Do you
rough.
really think he said that, though? They never touched the dog with it.
Maybe.
It's sad. What did she whip you for? I don't know who's asking him these questions. Oh, everything. Sometimes I wouldn't do a thing fast enough, or I'd do it too fast. She always hit me. When did she beat you last? Yesterday, replied the boy. He is a precocious chap, and almost made the officers of the society smile to see how well he understood their questions and how intelligently he answered them. Cool. So he knows what abuse is. Yay.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, he went on, she asked me if I had studied hard in school. I told her I got a mark for whispering to a boy. Then she took the club and hit me over the shoulder. And when I began to cry, she stuffed the whip down my throat. It's awful. It hurted me fearful, too. I thought I was going to choke and die, but Aunt doesn't care for me at all. When did she hit you with the poker? Last week, because I couldn't spell big words, she hit me over the knee with it. She hit me awfully hard, and I couldn't walk for nearly a whole day.
Because he couldn't spell a big word.
Because he couldn't spell a big word. I know. This poor boy.
I feel like my kids should be really happy with my parenting style. Like,
in what way? That you're not beating them and sticking whip handles down their throats?
exactly.
Yes. Be thankful, children. Your mom's not abusive. Although I tell my kids on a regular occasion
That I'm going to
beat them.
Yeah.
And I told my daughter that the other day when we were at her science fair.
Mm-hmm.
She said something sassy. She's 12. And I go, I'm going to beat you. And I looked at her friend. I said, you tell her I'm going to beat her. And she's like, your mom's going to beat you. And Ellie goes, yeah, she says that like 6 times a day. She's never done it. And I'm like,
She's super scared of you.
but if I had to,
yeah.
I wouldn't. But if I wouldn't do it ever.
No.
And that's the great thing. She knows that. And we can say that I'll beat her.
Mm-hmm.
She's also almost bigger than me. So there's that.
Both of my kids are taller than me. So,
They
you know.
didn't have to grow very high.
You know. I didn't need that. Thank you very much.
I love you.
I love you too.
All right. Safe from his tormentor. Seeing the smiling faces around him, the little fellow's eyes suddenly filled with tears. I mustn't go back, must I? He pleaded. No, my boy, said one of the officers. You'll never go back to that woman. And then they said his name was Harvey Fischer here, but it was Harry, most certainly. Harry Fisher's mother was found in a little basement store that she's running at number 187 Prospect Street, New York. She makes a bare living in the store and is assisted by her daughter, 15 years old. The father abandoned the family some time ago, but Mrs. Fisher does not put it that way. She says her husband is dead.
I mean, I think back then I would have rather told people that my husband died than he just ran off.
Yeah, because then you're a real widow, not just a grass widow.
Exactly.
We just looked up what that meant.
We did.
A grass widow is a woman who is not married, but not really a widow. So like
typically divorced or separated.
Divorced or separated. Or living away from their husband.
Yes.
So I think she's a grass widow, Mrs. Fisher. When the woman was first informed of the plight of her little son and the arrest of the step-aunt, both Mrs. Fisher and her daughter burst into tears. Oh, my poor boy, the mother cried. I didn't think I should give him up when I did. I only did it because my girl had lived with Kloppenberg. I still love that name. And had been well treated. That was when his first wife was alive, and his first wife was my sister. I mean, yeah, if it's your sister, she's going to look after your kids way better than this other lady.
Oh, for sure.
For sure. That's what aunts are all about. I was working out, you see. I had no place for my boy. I could not do anything for him. I was so poor. Never told a lie. Kloppenberg had no children, and he wanted to take them. I let him do it, and he promised to bring the boy back to me after he went to Germany. He had him 9 months. I saw the boy last on New Year's Day, but he did not tell me that he was abused. I hope the law will make this woman suffer if she was to hurt my child. And if he says she did, it's true. For Harry never told a lie when I had him. Not ever. 8-year-old boys never lie.
No.
They're angels. Mrs. Fisher and her daughter closed the little store and hurried to the office of the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children. They will apply for the custody of the boy as soon as the case against Mrs. Kloppenberg is ended. Mrs. Kloppenberg, sister of the boy's stepmother, that one kind of confused me. The boy doesn't have a stepmother, right? I don't get that one. But okay. was found in the kitchen at number 89 Rockaway Avenue last night. Her husband was present. The woman entered into the explanations immediately. She went into a closet and found a heavy clothes wringer, which she carried out into the kitchen. The boy is lying if he said I hit him with a club, said Mrs. Kloppenberg. If he has any marks on him, on his body, it's where the clothes wringer fell on him. It was on the tub, and when I took it off, it dropped on his shoulders. Perhaps it hurt him a little. Apologies, we have dogs, and he needed to shake. His aunt's denials. Did it hurt both shoulders or only one? The woman was asked. It hit one of his shoulders, I suppose, she answered. Bum, bum, bum. But both the boy's shoulders are covered with black and blue spots and bruises. One shoulder is as fully black as the other.
Oh, wow.
So she's lying.
Big time lying.
Liar. Mrs. Kloppenberg said she had never touched the boy with the clothes stick, which she said was too heavy to hit a child with, because that's the right answer. Mm-hmm. I didn't hit him with it if it's too heavy. Not I wouldn't do that. That one's too heavy. It's not practical. She declared the statement that she had struck him with a poker, then hanging near the stove, was a falsehood. She admitted she had, quote, dusted Harry a bit, unquote, with the rawhide when he deserved it. Kloppenberg declared his wife had used the little fellow with greatest kindness and helped him with his studies until he led his class. The end.
I feel like she's full of shit.
She definitely beat that boy. Also, I'll post the images because in the newspaper where the article is from, they have drawings of the little boy. Yeah, because they didn't do pictures. This was in 1896.
Okay.
And so it's a drawing, like a sketch of a little boy who looks more like an infant than a boy, in my opinion.
Cool.
And you can see his bruises and stuff on his body. And there's like a front view and a side view, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. But we'll post them on the social. What's it called? That's what they called news. That's what it is on Facebook.
Yes.
So, so we'll post those because it's interesting. It's like their version of taking a picture of an abused child and putting it on the paper.
It's their documentation.
Just there.
Okay.
All right. What do you have for us today?
I have... This one is just entertaining to me because of... I don't know. I'll just read it and you can be entertained also.
All right. You entertain me.
Okay. It says blue laws for students.
Blue? Like the color?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm really not sure where the color comes into play in this article.
Okay.
But, that's all right. Blue laws for students. Boston's prime regulations for the pupils in her high schools. Boston, Massachusetts, March 18th. Boston's sense of propriety does not allow its young men and women to go to school together. Hence, there is a separate high school for each sex. During the lunch hour, however, the boys got into the habit of going over to visit until somebody held up shocked hands and exclaimed, "How improper!"
Oh, dear. Oh, no.
Then it was discovered that some of the boys and girls even walked to and from school together.
No, they did not.
The audacity.
Oh, my gosh.
This was too much for the good people who had been badly enough shocked already.
I bet some fainted.
Probably. No, what did they swoon?
Yes, definitely some swooning happening at that news.
And they declared such promiscuous mingling to be stopped. Promiscuous mingling. Walking to school together is promiscuous.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Principal Tetlow is a sensible man, but he has been obliged to revive a long obsolete rule which prohibits the girls from being accompanied to school by the boys and puts an embargo upon any communication between them.
An embargo? Holy guacamole. This is serious.
Yeah. Hereafter, any young woman who wishes to come to school accompanied by a male companion must bring from her parents a letter giving her permission to do so.
Well, imagine if you were the parent who was like, yeah, I don't care.
Oh, you would be like the worst parent
I think you would
ever
be shunned.
in the whole world.
I looked up blue laws, and it says, the Google machines says that blue laws are commonly a ban to ban certain businesses or recreational activities on Sundays.
Interesting.
So I don't know what it has to do with going to school, but
Okay.
I guess. Sure. What's next?
So credits routed a mob. No, cadets.
Oh, there's not even an R in that.
Nope.
Nailed
I jumped ahead to routed.
I hate
So
it
I
when that
tossed it into the first word.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
Cadets routed a mob. They formed a hollow square and rescued a church janitor at the Bayonet's Point. Okay. Chicago, March 18th. While services were being held in the upper portion of the 9th Presbyterian Church last night, and the cadets were engaged in their regular weekly drill in the classrooms in the basement, a shower of bricks and stones fell against the church doors, startling the cadets below and the worshipers above.
Okay, wait. I need to set the scene for myself.
Okay.
So we're at a church.
Yes.
There's church going on upstairs, and the army is practicing downstairs.
I almost feel like this is like a color guard or like
But it says they put them at bayonet point.
yeah, I
That's
don't know.
the thing on the end of your muzzle loader, man.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're on. I'm not really sure. Okay, so
Yes.
church upstairs,
Uh-huh.
army guys downstairs,
Correct.
and now people are throwing bricks and stones at the church.
I'm not sure if people are throwing them or if they fell, like
Okay.
part of the church collapsed.
Okay.
I think that's probably what it is, but
All right, let's
we're going to find out.
Let's find out.
Okay. A watchman found a crowd of men and boys on the sidewalk in front of the church, and when he remonstrated, he was quickly surrounded and dragged down the steps. He fought hard, but the ringleaders were strong.
So they're throwing rocks, man.
It sounds like it.
All right.
And they buffeted him about, kicking and cuffing him at will. Then the watchman cried for help. In an instant, the cadet company had scaled the short stairway leading to the street. The gleam of the bayonets struck terror into the mob for a moment. Then a fresh supply of missiles was obtained, and the crowd rushed against the bayonets and surrounded the company.
Okay.
So
All right.
there is
So
it's
they
an angry
resupplied
mob,
their ammo, so
Yeah.
they picked up more rocks.
I guess.
All right.
But yeah, because okay,
I wonder what they're mad about.
I don't know.
I bet we don't find out.
Probably not. The cadet captain formed his men into a hollow square, and into this one of the bravest of the company dragged the bruised and frightened watchman. Then each side of the square was sent forward, and this movement put the mob to flight. The police were called from the Maxwell station, and order was preserved until the church services were concluded and the night drill of the cadets was over.
Okay. Time out.
Okay.
First of all, was it an actual drill or was this an angry mob? I'm confused.
So the cadets were drilling. They were practicing.
Okay. They were practicing in the
Yeah.
basement. All right. But then the mob actually came.
Correct.
But then did church just continue to happen?
That's the way it sounds.
And then they just finished church and they're like, okay, everyone have a good evening.
Mm-hmm.
Like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose we can credit that to God.
Right. Yes. Yep.
All right.
Moving on.
Quickly.
Yes. Ink had not time to dry.
No.
Mrs. Grew secured a divorce and married again the same day.
Why would you want to?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
They have a law, whatever now, or at least I remember seeing this when I got divorced, was you can't get remarried
Within 30 days.
within 30 days of your
I think that's what it is here.
divorce decree being finalized.
Yes. They make sure you know that. Like,
yes.
they like really, really tell you that when
Yes.
you're getting divorced. I'm like, I'm not doing this again anytime soon.
Right.
And then I did.
And then you did.
Dang it.
You waited.
A while.
Yeah.
This one's way different. It's way better.
Yes. So, Miss Louisa Grew of number 60 Hudson Street, Hoboken, received Tuesday afternoon the copy of the decree of divorce granted her by the chancellor, and within an hour she was again married, this time to Otto Lido, a bookkeeper who for several months has been paying attentions to the good-looking young grass widow.
See, grass widow. We know what that means now.
Yeah.
I just, within an hour.
That's
So you're like, give me my divorce papers.
Mhm.
Cool. Here's my marriage papers. Cool.
Well, there's a little more.
Oh.
The marriage was performed by Justice of the Peace George F. Seymour, who, oddly enough, officiated at the woman's first matrimonial
Of
venue
course he did.
4 years ago when he married her to Herman Grew.
Of course he did.
Why not?
She just really likes him.
Well, I'm also, I suppose, if you're going to go through Justice of the Peace and you're in a smallish town, there probably aren't many to choose from.
It's very true.
Like here, we got one dude.
Right, right.
But also, you can go online and become an ordained minister and marry whoever you want to these days.
These days you can.
Back then, not so much.
But not within 30 days of their divorce.
No. Gotta wait.
It's the rules.
Yep. All right. What is a boom?
What's a boom?
Here comes the...
Boom.
Okay, that's not what this is about.
All right.
Philadelphia Ledger. Amid all the current discussion of various kinds of booms, one thing is lacking, and that is an authoritative explanation as to what a boom is. The historian of the future will doubtless be glad to know whether it was a loud noise or a floating dam. He will scarcely be able to decide from the mixture of metaphors relating to it, which he will find in the literature of 1986.
You're right. I'm confused.
I don't think I would have ever thought that a boom was a floating dam.
I mean, I've heard of like boom trucks,
Mm-hmm.
but those aren't floating dams.
No.
I just think it's a loud noise.
Yeah. Because what is it? An onomatopoeia?
Yes.
It's a word that describes
sounds
the
like a
sound
noise.
that it makes.
Like
Yeah.
boom
Mhm.
or snap.
Yep.
Kapow! I like
Bazinga.
I like onomatopoeias.
They are a lot of fun.
They're a lot of fun.
All right. Trust the Texan. St. Louis Republic. Several Texans have gone to Jerusalem believing the end of the world is approaching. Oh no. You may trust the Texan to get in on the ground floor, whether it is a case of entering a newly opened reservation or of meeting the Almighty.
Oh, we're sorry, Texas. This newspaper didn't like you.
Apparently not.
It's not our opinion, it's theirs.
Or maybe they really liked Texans.
Maybe there was
and
no sarcasm in that at all.
Maybe, and they were like, "These are righteous people who will be the first to meet the Almighty."
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I'm not religious.
Or
enough
they're
to be able
crazy
to
for
explain
thinking
that.
it's the end of the world.
That could be.
But also, that still exists now, and we're getting closer every day.
How many end of the worlds have we survived, friend?
Several. For sure, several.
Yes.
I mean, definitely Y2K.
yeah, that was a big
And
one.
Was
And
it
then-
2012?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then there's...
And then we had Corona.
yeah.
I
Man,
feel like there's been more.
definitely.
The raptures definitely happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, several times
Yeah.
over.
Well, what was in the last episode? There's I read something about some scientist refuting his idea of when the world would end.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see,
Yep.
we
It
weren't
was
alive then.
Always a hot topic.
Yeah. So the next one is a Gilbert Wink. Okay. Council Bluffs Nonpareil. I don't know if I said that right, but we're rolling with it. The Queen has a Gilbert sort of wink in her eye as she talked to Jameson about his being such a bad boy.
Oh, the Queen.
The Queen. I don't know, the Queen of what?
There's a winking.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess Queen of England.
Yeah,
But
she's really the only one, right?
Yeah, pretty much. She was making eyes.
Naughty. Okay. Next, about 150 letters awaited Dr. Jameson on his arrival at Plymouth, England. Many of them contained offers of marriage.
Ooh, my sister went to school in Plymouth, England.
Wow.
I have a shirt.
That's fancy.
My sister went to school there. All I got was a shirt. That my daughter now wears.
Yes. One was from a lady of good position who asserted that her friends considered her still handsome, but she was the mother of 2 marriageable daughters. She informed Dr. Jameson that he could have his choice of the 3.
That has legit Bridgerton vibes there.
It really does.
That sounds so much like Mrs. Featherington.
Yes. Like, well, you can have any of us, really.
Really? Really, you could.
Oh. All right. Mark Twain has become so used to Eastern customs that he says he cannot avoid slamming a door at present. What does slamming a door have to do with Eastern customs?
Does he think the people in the East slam their doors a lot?
I guess.
Maybe they're just all angry. I have something really sad to admit. I've never really been East.
Me either. The furthest east I have been is Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Indiana for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we should go on a road trip.
I mean, I was in Florida, but I flew there.
Yeah.
And I don't really feel like that counts because we just went to one city. To Orlando and Naples.
Yeah.
But
Those 2 cities.
like, I don't feel like that really counts.
No. Road
It
trip.
was also on the west side of Florida, so road trip.
Okay. Cool.
Deal.
All right.
All right.
Special notices. When baby was sick, we gave her Castoria. When she was a child, she cried for Castoria. When she became Miss, she clung to Castoria. When she had children, she gave them Castoria.
And they all pooped happily ever after. That's the special notice.
That's the special notice.
That's an advertisement.
It really is. Personal. 125th Street runover accident.
Oh, no.
Tuesday, March 17th. Will the party who picked up lady run over by mineral water wagon at 125th Street and Madison Avenue Tuesday send name and address? Would also like to hear from any person who saw the accident. Appreciative, Box 46, Journal.
They're like, so if you saw my wife get ran over by that trailer, or what was it called? Carriage?
Mineral water wagon.
Wagon. Sorry. Trailer.
That's what they're called. Oh my gosh.
That's what they look like.
Yeah.
Anywho, if you saw my wife get run over by that wagon, let us know.
Yeah.
We'd like to know what happened
all
there.
about it.
Someone's going to be held responsible.
Okay, next we have Love in West Virginia. Edmund Browning and Miss Clarissa Jenkins were married in Logan County, West Virginia, and more than 100 of the best citizens of the county were invited guests to witness the ceremony. Miss Minerva Steele.
Minerva. I love that name.
Me too. I want to get a cat and name her Minerva.
Oh, that'd be a great cat name.
It would.
Great cat.
Miss Minerva Steele, a former lover of Browning, was present and began making threats toward the bride before the ceremony was ended.
Oh, shit.
Oh! Miss Leander Browning, a sister-in-law of the groom who was an attendant at the wedding, confronted Miss Steele and told her she would be compelled to leave the house. Miss Steele became violent and dealt Mrs. Browning a fierce blow in the face.
Oh, my God.
The assault was returned by Mrs. Browning and disorder reigned for several minutes.
They had a fist fight at the That is your sister, man.
Oh.
She might just be your groom sister-in-law,
Yeah.
but fuck that. She is your sister.
Right?
She is going to bat for you.
Yes.
That's real womanhood right there. Love it.
Many of the guests fled from the parlors, terror-stricken,
Oh, no.
while others rushed up to separate the belligerents who were
Lies.
dealing blow for blow.
They were cheering him on. 100.
Both were seriously injured and bled profusely from their wounds, which were confined to their faces.
Of course they were. They're girls.
More than 20 minutes elapsed before the ceremony was ended, and all the festivities were declared off. The affair is causing much comment, but a great effort was made to keep the matter from gaining publicity.
And then we printed it in the newspaper. You're welcome.
Screw you and your privacy.
You didn't want that to get out, right?
No.
Here, let's just put it here.
You remember that time that your ex-husband and ex-sister-in-law got into a fight at my wedding reception?
Yes, I do. So sorry about that.
Hey, it's funny now. I mean, it was kind of funny then because
It was kind of funny.
seriously. I couldn't believe that. Oh my God.
Yep, that happened.
It did.
We are white trash.
Hey now.
Okay, maybe.
They are white trash? Oh my gosh. Okay. Asleep for 2 weeks. This one has some Japanese names in it, so please bear with me.
Okay.
For a long 2 weeks, Tushako Hiranas, something like that, a Japanese domestic, 29 years of age, has been asleep in receiving hospital at Oakland, California. And although many physicians have worked with him hard and faithfully, all effort to rouse him from his semi-trance-like condition has proved a failure. And the Jap sleeps on.
Oh, dear. Wait, how long has he been asleep?
It doesn't say. It just says that he's been asleep.
Oh. Do you think?
Oh, here we go.
Okay, we got more. Sorry. I'll wait.
Tushako was arrested 2 weeks ago and locked up in the city prison, charged with violating the sleeping out ordinance.
So he got arrested for sleeping outside?
That's what it sounds like.
Sounds like he just can't help it, guys.
Here, the drowsy Jap lay in a trance for 6 days, and in all that time, no food passed his lips.
I just want to be clear. This is directly quoted from the newspaper. These are not our racial slurs.
Correct.
We don't believe in that.
No.
But we will read it for what it says.
Yes. Dr. Mayon, an Oakland physician at this time being puzzled about the strange case, had some of the man's countrymen call at the prison, and the prize sleeper was taken to the receiving hospital where he has been sleeping ever since.
Holy crap. Do you think he's sleeping, or do you think he's in like a super meditative state? Like he's like a higher being?
I'm assuming that he had a medical condition that was like undiagnosed.
You just think it's medical.
I do.
It's not supernatural.
Maybe he like
Narcolepsy.
maybe.
I don't really know
Or,
how that works. Is that just makes you fall asleep, or does it make you stay asleep?
makes you fall asleep randomly.
Ah.
But I'm thinking like he's in a diabetic coma or something like that.
That would
That's
be
my
bad.
thought. Yep. Anyway, doctors Johnson and Dunn have watched the case closely and pronounced it one of catalepsy. But although everything known to medical science has been tried, the man's condition remains about the same. Steward Victory says that 3 times a day he wakes the sleeper to take food and medicine, and at such times he eats ravenously. But just as soon as the enormous appetite is satisfied, the man sinks back into his semi-unconscious condition and does not move until awakened for the next meal. Okay, well, that just blows my theory out of the water.
Okay, but here's what catalepsy is. I don't think this is it. I think he's wrong.
Okay.
Catalepsy is a neurological condition that causes muscular rigidity, a fixed posture, and decreased pain sensitivity. It can also cause inactivity, decreased responsiveness to stimuli, and waxy flexibility, where limbs can stay in whatever position they're placed. So you become like a little claymation figure.
Oh.
It's a trance-like state where a person maintains a fixed body posture for a long time.
Okie dokie.
I don't think that sounds like it, but okay.
Nope, it doesn't.
Also wasn't there. And newspapers aren't super reliable sources for information.
Yeah.
Then or now.
Yeah.
Just so we're clear.
Last part of that article is Tishako appears to be growing fleshy in his sleep and weighs at least 10 pounds more than when he left the city prison.
Maybe he's just pretending to be asleep so they'll keep beating him.
I mean, if I could get away with that, I would do it.
It's a really good idea. I think you nailed it, actually.
Yep. 10 points. Tishako, you did good.
You did it.
All right. Small boys. Nope. Small boy tries tramping.
Oh, boy.
A very youthful tramp was up before Judge Edwards in Dunkirk, New York, the other day. His name is Walter Burnish. He is 13 years of age, and according to his story, he has been an extensive traveler. He told the judge that his father, John Burnish, was a well-to-do brick mason of Sharon, PA. The boy ran away from home last summer, and his parents, after diligent search, located him in Pittsburgh. The authorities of that city sent him back to his home. He remained for a short time only under the parental roof when he again started out to see the country.
He's like, nah, no thanks.
Yeah.
I don't need parents.
Nope. They're overrated. He visited Western states and finally returned to Erie, PA. Here, he fell in with two older tramps who introduced him to travel with them. He says they would not work and compelled him to go in houses and beg for food. The trio reached Dunkirk Thursday night and were arrested. The two older ones, who gave the names Ira Green and Frank Smith, were sent to the penitentiary for 60 days each. The boy will be returned to his home.
He won't be there for long.
Nah, he's just going to run away again.
Yep.
Knew her son's foot.
His foot?
His foot.
Okay.
The Brunswick boy convicted of burglary in the testimony of his keen-eyed mother.
Oh, wait.
His mother testified against him.
Oh, boy.
Mm.
Okay.
New Brunswick, New Jersey, March 18th. A mother's testimony convicted a boy of burglary in the court here today, and had the witness been a person less qualified to describe the appearance of the boy's feet, he might have been acquitted.
Thank God it was his mom.
The neighbors of Mrs. on Seaman Street never were much in love with Sylvester Edgerton, her oldest boy, and lately the youngster had given his mother so much trouble that she had lost all love for him herself.
Wait.
Okay.
Sounds like a bad kid.
Someone stole a suit of clothes from the house of Francis E. Doyle not long ago. It was quite a mystery, and Sylvester Edgerton would have gone free, notwithstanding the fact that he became suddenly flush with money and about the same time, had not Mrs. Edgerton swore in court today that she saw a foot disappear in a window of the Doyle residence the afternoon of the robbery, and she could swear from long experience that was her son's foot.
Was it bare?
I would assume, because how are you going to tell with shoes?
How are you going to tell with shoes?
I don't know. Moreover, she saw Doyle's goat make a sudden break shortly before she saw the vanishing foot, and from the antics of the goat, she was convinced that her son was up to his old tricks of tormenting the beast. Further than that, Mrs. Edgerton did not know anything about the robbery. Mrs. Edgerton's testimony about the disappearing foot was corroborated later when evidence was shown that Mrs. Jane Clark of Nielsen Street had advanced $3 to Sylvester on a coat, which was part of the stolen suit. The boys...
Oh, so wait, the evidence was his mom seeing the foot.
Yeah.
Not the fact that he sold a stolen suit.
So far, that's the way it sounds.
All right.
The boy's explanation of this was that he had bought the coat off another boy for $1.75, but he did not give a very satisfactory explanation of how he raised $1.75. Because that was a lot of money for a kid back then.
Yeah, it was.
Judge Strong sent him to the county jail for 5 months, and the mother said she was glad of it.
Bet she is. I bet he was a pain in the ass.
Sounds like it. We'll use x-rays to find his teeth.
All right.
They are artificial ones and are lost somewhere in a Jersey man.
Wait, inside?
Inside of him.
Okay.
How they got there.
We shall find out.
Oh, quickly. He swallowed them while in bed.
Well, that makes sense now.
Probably during a fit of violent coughing. It is told to consult Mr. Edison.
So, I mean, him swallowing them makes me a lot more happy than like the alternative, because have you seen how many TikToks there are about ER nurses pulling things out of butts?
Yep, it's gross.
It's so much stuff that people put in their butts.
It doesn't go in there. I'm just going to tell you that.
And they know. They 100% know that you did not fall and land on it.
It was not an accident.
It wasn't an accident.
It might be an accident that you can't get it out.
That's definitely an accident.
But it's not an accident that it ended up in there.
Okay, continue. Okay. He swallowed his teeth. They did not go up his butt. I'm glad.
Likely to do so and thus facilitate the work of medical men who may perform an operation to save him. Orange, New Jersey, March 18th. Edward Krieger, 19 years old. Stepson of John Sickles and Red Bank.
Are you sure about all that? You sounded really not sure. Are you sure he's 19 years old?
Yeah.
Okay.
19. Just sounds really young to have artificial teeth.
I mean, it was 18. Whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
At least, okay, sorry, artificial teeth.
Yeah.
One more time. I always thought, they say George Washington had wooden teeth.
Correct.
Wooden.
Yes.
Okay. I 100% thought that they were woolen teeth.
Made of wool?
With an L.
Oh,
how gross would that be?
Super gross.
I could not figure it out.
Also, don't you think that they would be like mushy?
Oh my God, they would be so gross. Years I thought this. Years. Well, and now they say there's no evidence that he actually had wooden teeth either. I don't know. I'm not a scientist.
Me either.
I just read old newspapers. Anywho. Continue.
And I'm along for the ride. Okay, so Orange, New Jersey, March 18th. Edward Krieger, 19 years old, stepson of John Sickles and Red Bank, a clerk in Herbert Austin's hat store at West Orange, had the unpleasant experience of swallowing his false teeth shortly before daylight this morning.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Krieger let his artificial masticators fall in the sink yesterday and cracked them. The suction of the plate was thus made defective. Krieger boards with Mr. and Mrs. Herbert Austin on Valley Road. At 4 o'clock this morning, he woke up with a fit of coughing and choking. Instantly, he missed this teeth and realized that he had swallowed them.
Missed his teeth, I assume.
Yes, missed his teeth and realized he had swallowed them.
I once swallowed a tooth in my sleep. I have a lot of tooth stories.
I swallowed a tongue ring one time.
I also swallowed a tooth eating pancakes.
A tooth eating pancake.
I lost my tooth eating pancakes.
That's special.
Yeah. It was really loose.
Yeah, it must have been. Oh my gosh. Okay. They lodged in his throat and worked slowly down. Every move caused him intense pain. Dr. Matthews was hastily summoned, but he could do nothing for the sufferer. A conference of several physicians had been held in Memorial Hospital here, and it is feared an operation will have to be performed.
I mean, is that necessary?
If it's big enough, it's going to cause an obstruction. Like, it's not just going to process through your body.
How big do you think his teeth were?
But this is like a full denture plate.
Oh.
You missed that.
I don't listen well.
Jeez,
I'll try harder.
I'm sitting here reading to you, and you're not even going to listen to me?
Sometimes I miss parts of the story because I'm creating the picture in my head.
Okay.
And then the picture gets super interesting.
I'll take it.
Okay. Sorry. Sorry.
Nobody's going to be able to follow this story.
So we can't wait. I know. We can't wait for it to pass. We have to have surgery.
Have to have surgery.
Okay.
Another consultation will be held sometime early tomorrow morning where Krager will be present. Krager was seen by a reporter this afternoon. He was suffering from severe pains in the stomach. He said there were 6 teeth on the plate, 4 in front and 2 on the extreme back end.
I take back my earlier comments.
All right. He is subject to heavy coughing spells, and it is thought that during one of these, the teeth worked down his throat. He is not allowed to eat anything, and from fear of excitement, he is becoming weak and feverish.
I bet he was so happy that reporter stopped by to talk to him. And he's like, this is my shining moment.
Yes.
My 15 minutes of fame. And I swallowed my teeth for it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Just before the reporter's visit, several medical men had advised him to go to Edison's laboratory and let the wizard experiment with x-rays in locating the teeth, so that in case of an operation, the physicians will have no troubles to find their exact position. Krager seriously entertained the suggestion, and if he is able, he will give Mr. Edison a call.
I hope he did. I hope he talked to Mr. Edison.
His mother at Red Bank was telegraphed for and will arrive tomorrow.
She came to her little baby's side.
All right. That's all I got.
That's all there is. There isn't any more.
That's all she wrote, folks.
I'm excited about this.
Me too.
We should definitely look into Thomas Edison some more, I think. I bet there's some interesting stories about him. A wizard. He was a wizard and had a laboratory.
A laboratory.
Yeah.
I also think that if anybody has an idea of something that we should find news articles on, they should definitely let us know.
Yeah, how are they going to do that, friend?
On Facebook.
Okay. How do they find us on Facebook?
That's what they call news.
That's what they call news? I also was trying to do the at thing, but it wasn't working for some reason. So you just gotta type in the search bar with that annoying freaking meta AI thing now.
Yeah.
I don't know how everybody else feels about this AI stuff, but I am over it.
Yes.
I'm over it. It's in my way. I don't want it. I can do my own thinking. Thank you. I can write my own sentences. I can complete a thought occasionally, usually.
You just need me there to translate your thoughts into actual English.
Also that. But anywho.
Yeah.
So that's what they called news on Facebook.
Yes.
Or
Spotify.
And
there's one more, but it's super fresh and I don't remember what the website is.
On the but also on the Google, or not on the Google machine, but on the Gmail machine.
Yeah.
You can email any suggestions you might have to
Yes.
That's what they called news at gmail.com. All one word. No
Punctuation.
Punctuation. Thank you. I was going to say abbreviations, but also none of those.
None of those.
Just that's what they called news.
Yeah.
At gmail.com. All right.
Cool.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, have a fine evening, morning, breakfast,
Lunch. Whenever you are listening to this, I hope you enjoy the rest of your
whatever.
Yeah.
Morning, day, evening, night.
What did he say on the Truman Show? It was like, and in case I don't see you,
good morning, good afternoon,
and good night. Something.
Something like that.
Quit.
We'll come up with something better.
We will. We can do it.
Until
Okay.
next time.